Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Today is Thursday, and guess what today is? Today is Haunting Adeline Day Book 2, baby. It's what you guys have been waiting for. I know you guys have been dying. You've been in my comment section for the last 2 weeks. Like, when is Haunting Adeline coming back? And today is the day. We finished A Court of Thorns and Roses yesterday. We wrapped up our girl's story over there. She got the elf man. They killed Amaranthia. They did their thing. Now it's time to see what happened to our girl, Adeline, and our boy Zaid. When we left off, our boy Zaid was playing as a character he created named Zach. He was infiltrating the little pedophile cult thing. They set up a trap for him. Adeline went to go drive to save him or to something. She gets ran off the road. Some dudes come and they kidnap her. So now we're going to be on to book 2. But before we get into the book, you know what we do. We always have a thread. Our interesting thread for today is, girls, what was the most devious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? All right. So what obvious hint, did you drop and the guy just didn't get it? Okay. I once asked a guy if I could kiss him. We had been hanging out in a way that was conducive to that, and he said yes. I kissed him. It was great, but then he just parted ways in a natural way. 3 days later, this man calls me all shocked that I was hitting on him. He told a friend about the interaction and they just had to point it out. Sir, I kissed you. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're trying to figure out if a girl likes you, and it's just like, dang, she kissed me, but she could have just kissed me as a friend. You never know. With nowadays dating, bro, you never know with girls. It's just is she being nice? Is she not? I mean, most would argue they kissed. It's duh, I like you. I'm not going to kiss some old random dude or just some dude I'm friends with. And it makes sense. But there are girls out there that be just giving those kind of signals. And he might have, dealt with one of those girls where he took her out. They kissed after the first date and he's like, yes, I got a girlfriend. And I know she's just over there sucking off Chad Thundercock. And she's like, oh, I didn't know. I thought we were, just dating. And it's that shit happens. So facts. I can see it from both sides. All right. What's the most obvious hint you've dropped and the guy just didn't get it? I asked him out on a movie date after already spending hours talking to him, just the two of us. I had already given him lots of compliments, told him how I loved to be around him, how I really enjoyed his company during the date. I paid for the tickets. He paid for the snacks. I went to sit closer and tried to grab his hand. He genuinely thought I just wanted the armrest and moved away. Oh, no. I had to literally tell him I had feelings for him after the movie. And even then he asked me what I meant. We're married now, have 2 kids, and I know he'll never cheat because he'll never ever notice anyone flirting with him. And trust and loyalty. That's crazy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It be like that for a guy because you don't want to be that weirdo. And then on top of that, you don't want to make a move too soon. You kind of want to build a bit of a rapport with a girl. You know what I mean? Kind of escalate slowly. Some girls, they want the escalation to just happen, but some girls don't. Some girls like to have the escalation just happen a little slowly and a little more naturally. And for a guy, it's we have to know which one you are, what type of girl you are. And sure, yes, we get to know you. We try to figure out, what you like and what you don't like and so on and so forth. But it takes time, man. It takes time, dude. And it's not the easiest. It is not the easiest thing. Oh, but honestly, kudos to her. It's why she got married, because she was just nah, I want this man and I'm going to have him. Yeah, I'm going to have him. Ain't nothing stopping me. So I give it to you, girl. Goddamn. All right, what was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? After dinner and drinks, I asked if he wanted to go back to my place and watch Bob's Burgers. He said he didn't really like cartoons. I said, we don't have to watch anything. We can do other things. Aw, damn, brother. He replied, then what would we do? With a genuinely puzzled expression. I figured it was clear he wasn't interested and figured we had fun and called it a night, especially since he had mentioned wanting to beat that traffic getting home. Kind of bummed, but I figured life goes on. And then 20 minutes later, he texted me and said, not gonna lie, I wanted you so badly tonight, nigga, bro. Come on, man.
Bruh.
Come on, man. She was practically inviting you over to the crib, and then you're just like, I wanted to do you, girl. My God. I was like, I didn't think so because I invited you up and you declined, and suddenly he realized I was inviting him for sex. He flipped out and asked if he could come back over. He did and finally got it, and we had snacks and drinks and sex and dated for a few months. Pretty cool guy, but absolutely clueless. Hey, man. Facts. Facts. I mean, with something like that, though, I wouldn't immediately think that she wants to, like, you know, do it. But if she's inviting me to her place, I'm like, I'm down. You know what I mean? I don't really like Bob's Burgers, but I'm gonna fucking watch it just because, you know, she's there, and then, you know, she's rubbing your boy thigh. I'm like, ooh, yeah, this is going somewhere. You know, it's like, what are you doing? But at the same time, he probably was just like, man, I don't want to seem too eager. I don't want to seem like I'm, you know, being pushy. Like, oh, you know, all I want to do is fuck you. And like, it's such a fine line with dudes, man. Because it's like, I understand from the girl's perspective. It's like, nigga, come on, man. Practically opening my legs here for you. But at the same time, as a guy, it's like, fuck. Because you have to understand, any competent dude, he understands that, you know, if you're a beautiful woman, you're going to deal with weirdo dudes all day, every day. You're going to deal with dudes that are just the top of the top, just grossest and weirdest guys. And we want to be different. We want to be like, nah, girl, I'm showing you I'm different. I'm the guy that, you know, I'm going to plan the date. I'm cool, calm, collected. You know, I got my shit together, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, we want to show you that first. That way it's just like, when I do make the move for the sexy time, you're just about it. You're like, yeah, wet. You know? Again, it's like some girls, they don't mind moving right into that. And sometimes they need that escalation. And it's like, as a guy, you got to figure it out. It's so hard, man. Oh, God. All right, I once asked a guy straight up if he wanted to fuck me, and then he laughed and kept talking about something else. Yeah, because if I say yes, makes me look thirsty, bro. Makes me look thirsty. In my mind, I'm like, you damn right, man. Like, right now, if I could. You know, but we ain't trying to seem thirsty out in these streets, you know what I mean? Then an hour later, he called and asked if I was serious, to which I said yes. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that was an actual option. Facts. That happens. That happens. You know, hey, man, I ain't going to sit here and say, you know, I know women very well. But sometimes, like, you got to take those shots when they're there. You know what I mean? And it's funny because, like, you think sometimes, like, oh, man, that's going to make me look weird, and that's going to make me look like a creep or make me look desperate or something like that, and you don't want to look that way in front of the girl you like. Yeah, you want to kind of show, like, yeah, I got some self-restraint. Yeah, I could do this. But in your mind, you're like, yes, let me do you, you know? I'm just saying. But for her, it's different though. She was straight up, but at the same time, it's like, what girl nowadays is straight up, you know? And then at the same time, that kind of sucks because it's like, if she was like, yo, you want to fuck? And then he's just like, hell yeah. And she's just like, wow, okay, slowly roll. Then you feel stupid. You're just like, I was joking, of course. Like, duh. Like, come on, girl. God damn, I want to go home. Like, I guarantee you he's dealt with more situations that have gone that way versus more situations that gone with the sex actually happens. Like, dude, I'm not saying ladies don't be straightforward. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that if he does that and he changes the subject, or if he kind of like, just be like, I'm serious, and then he's gonna be like, oh okay, cool, we can, we can, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you kind of gotta throw a little bit on there, because guys, we get fucked around like that all the time. Girls say something like that, da, 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 and then we're just like, yeah, let's do it, and they're like, oh no, and it's like, okay, all right, never mind. I'm embarrassed now. Okay. I had my crush over, and we were sitting in my living room, and I looked at him in a manner I felt was admiring and said, I do like it when you come to visit. And bless him, he looks up and smiles and says, I like visiting too. So I say, but I really like it when you come to visit. And he smiles wider and says, I really like it too. And goes back to what he was doing and says, no more. I've been out the game too long. I suck at this. Yeah. I mean, I would probably do that same thing too. I wouldn't know that you trying to get into the sheets. Like, I would just be like, I really like hanging out with you too. Girl, what the fuck are you doing? You trying to do the sex, touch my penis, or just get on top of me. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, sometimes you ladies don't realize how little you actually have to do to get a guy to, like, do the sexy time with you, or like, push that threshold. Like, she literally could have just got on top of him, and he would have just been like, I know what time it is. Like, she didn't have to say anything. She could have, like, if they're sitting down, she could have just literally sat on his lap on top of him and been like, bam, and just stared at him. Because that for me, I'd be like, okay, we're doing it. Like, it was just in my head, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm about it. Let's do it. Touching the booba, like, you ladies far underestimate how either that, or you could just change clothes, and just be like, man, whew, it's been kind of hot in here. Like, I'm gonna go change really quick. And the guy would be like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. You come back in t-shirt and panties, and I swear you will watch this man explode. He would just be like, gulp. And you just sit next to him. That's better. I swear to God. That's what I mean. How ladies far underestimate how little they really have to do. You can change your clothes. Change your clothes, man. And it's just you and him, so it's not like, wearing something skimpy. I get it, it's probably embarrassing or whatever, but come on, let's be honest. Yeah, he's over at your house, you guys are alone, you know what I mean? Like come on. And your goal is to, sleep with the guy. Like, it makes sense. Don't worry. You're not going to be weird. You're not going to be looked at as a hoe or anything like that. You really have nothing to be embarrassed about. Sure, I understand you're kind of showing your body, but that's why I said, like, more of like a t-shirt and panty kind of thing, because it's like you're not showing too much, but you're insinuating, like, hey, I'm literally like 2 pieces of fabric away from being naked. Like, hello. I'm just saying, that you guys far underestimate how little you really have to do. Like, I'm just saying, like, come on now. That would get any guy. God. All right. My now wife and her friend tried to get me to go out with both of them to a movie that I had been talking about and wanting to see for weeks. I declined. I don't want to be a third wheel, but they said they already had tickets. I thought they were just being nice and I didn't want to intrude in their girls' night. I said they could return my ticket, but thanks so much anyway. I'm a fool on so many levels. Huh. Okay. One of the comments was like, so you missed a threesome? And I'm like, facts. Like, is that what was going on here? Like was this movie some kind of like way for them to like, like he sits in the middle and like his wife is there and then the other girl's there. And then they're like both, clinging on to him type shit. And he's just like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? And they're like, oh, I'm so tired. We want to go home. Oh, do you want to sleep over, girl? Oh, yeah, I'll sleep over. Oh, cool. We can all share our bed. And it'd be like, yeah, we can share. Okay. All right, then. And then it's one of those things where, they're both wearing like little booty shorts and shit. And like, some training bras or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know what girls wear to be sexy nowadays. I don't know. But you know what I mean? And they're just like ready to go to bed. And they're just like, oh, they still have some energy though. Like, oh my God. And they fake pillow fight. I don't know. I don't know how two girls would like insinuate a threesome. I'm just saying, is this where it was going or what? Like, what did you miss out in this? I need to know, because that would be W wife if she's trying to get her friend in on the fun time. That would be crazy. Man, dude's mind would be blown. All right, girls, what was the most obvious hint that you dropped, but the guy didn't get it? Getting my tits out. Come on, bro. How does she whip the boobas out and you're like, I don't know if she likes me. Like, what? Like, my guy. Her boobs are out, man. Like, what? Come on, man. What are you doing? She just gets out of the shower. You know what I mean? She's just in shorts and that's it. And she's just like, hey, do you want like something to drink or like, you good? Pretending like dry her hair or something. Boobs just all out. And he's just like, no, I'm good. She's like, are you sure? Like, yeah, fantastic. I'm good. Woo! You know what I mean? I don't know if she likes me. I don't know if she wants me. Like what was that? Some dudes, I ain't gonna lie to you, me included, we be in our head so much to the point where we talk ourselves out of it. Like, it could be clear as day she trying to fuck, and it's like we talk ourselves out of it because it's just it's like, unless we're just given the green light and you're just clearly saying, hey, come put your wiener inside. It's like we don't know. Especially if it's a guy who's kind of experienced a moment where you have gone through that, and then the girl is just like, or she regretted it after, and you're just like, like that kind of stuff happens, and it does jade you in a little bit because you don't know if this girl's going to be the same way, and you kind of don't want to go through that awkward stage again, or that awkwardness of like, man, I had sex with her and now she regrets it and now we're not the same and stuff. And that could happen too, but man, sometimes you got to just go for it. Sometimes you got to just go for it, man. All right. What was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? We'd been flirting for months. I told him I was going out for dinner. Did he want to come too? He declined. I figured that he wasn't interested and it was just fun flirting, not real flirting. Oh well. Years later, he asked me if I was asking him out. When I said I totally was, he was just like, oh my God, I didn't realize until like a week later and practically died of shame because I was into you. We were with different people by then and had good chuckles about it. Damn. I mean, at least you guys both moved on and were happy with other people, because that would suck if like, he just moved on and you were still single, and then he's just like, oh my God, I didn't know. I personally, though, it could have even been a thing where he was just flirting with you and he had a girlfriend the whole time. That could have been a thing too. Like, you never know. Like, that type of shit could happen and it could go a little sideways. And yeah, like, hey. All right. What was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? I hate that hold on. Okay, I laid on top of him, fully clothed. We were just hanging out. Looked him dead in the face and said, hey, I like you as more than a friend and would like to kiss your face. And it still took him a week. Together for 8 years, married for 2. Okay, all right. That one, I ain't got no... Like, for the other ones, I was able to kind of justify it a little bit. She was as straightforward can be. I'd have been like, yeah. And, you know, she's like, yeah, I would have just been like, smush your face onto my face in that moment. Like, bro, not only is she laying on top of you, sure, she can lay on top of you and it could be kind of a joke or whatever. But still, it's like, come on now. Yeah, girls ain't just laying on top of dudes. You know what I mean? If you are, man, you a little special. You know what I mean?
She belongs to the streets.
Yeah, you a little special. But that is straightforward as straightforward can be. Man, where those girls at? And where they at? I you know what I mean? God damn, I need one of them in my life. Because your boy is struggling out here, all right? like, I need some help. Like, yeah, man, god damn. I'm Kevin Hart out here talking about help me. Like, shit. Just saying. All right, what was the most obvious hint you dropped? And the dude didn't get it. I told the dude I loved him. He laughed and said I was funny. Thought that meant he wasn't interested. He ended up asking me out an hour later when I asked what changed. He said he told his mom and sister what I said and talked some sense into him. Facts. Sometimes a girl saying I love you right off the bat ain't that bad. You know, like if you can get a girl to kind of feel those heavy of feelings for you that soon into kind of a relationship kind of vibe, that's a good thing, if I'm being honest with you. Because you gotta understand, not a lot of girls really fall in love, if you will, you know, especially that fast. And if you can get a girl to really have those deep of feelings for you, oh yeah, man, you know she ain't talking to somebody else. It's not a thing where she's talking to you and another guy or you and two other guys or whatever. Like, nah, she about you and you only, brother. She's like, I don't want none of these other motherfuckers. Sure, they hitting up my phone, but I ain't texting back, you know? Like, yeah, I talked some sense to that motherfucker too. I slapped him up a little bit like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? She said she love you. You know, if you don't get off your ass and get in there, man, somebody else will. Shit. All right, I'm going to do two more. 2 nights ago, I asked my boyfriend, can I get some of that? And touched his crotch. After about 30 minutes of weirdness, I said, hey, it's okay if you don't want to do anything. Let's just go to bed. And he hit me back with a wait. I didn't know you wanted sex. Why didn't you say anything? Bro, come on. She touched your wang. All right? The touching of the wang ought to just been like, you're bad. You're getting it tonight. You know what I mean? Your butt cheeks are going to be red by the time I'm done with you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Like them butt cheeks is going to be blushing, girl, by the time I'm done with you. You best stop it. Like, she touched your wang, brother. Now, if she just said that, it'd been like, you know, say he was holding some pie, and he's just like, you want some pie? You know, I don't know. I'm just saying. It's one of those things where it's just like, she knew she was doing, man. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. What the fuck? You fucking it up for yourself. And you guys are already dating, so it's like, that don't count. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And you guys are already dating. Fuck out of here. All right, this is going to be our last one. What was the most obvious hint that you dropped? And he just didn't get it. I took my whole shirt off for him to treat my sunburn. He was flabbergasted, to say the least. His dad even suggested he should do it in the first place. I visited his family over summer break. His dad even suggested he slept with me in the guest room opposed to his own, as it was cooler there. People kept making remarks. He asked if it bothered me. I said, no, I don't mind it. He made a whole speech in front of everyone to stop it. Made me think I was the stupid one. Took him 3 months to catch up to what everyone was seeing in a second. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I get it. You're taking your shirt off for like your sunburn. And I think he looks at it like, she ain't trying to, do it because she's only taking her shirt off for the sunburn. I understand that part. The whole sleeping together and her not minding. I mean, I would try to make a move, like I would try to at least cuddle, you know what I mean? Like, try to at least cuddle. And I'd just be like, damn, it's kind of cold. Closer, like do something. I would try something. I don't think full on sex, but I would try something. I would at least try to get a cuddle out of the situation. But with that one, again, it's iffy because it's a sunburn. It's like you're only taking your shirt off to treat the sunburn. It's not like you're really, the whole, like, even dad was just like, get some, my son. You know what I mean? Like even Pops was out there just like, hey, got you. You know, he was alley-ooping that for you. Like something could have happened, you know? Jeez. Oh, man. But that's going to go ahead and be the end of that thread. Hope you guys enjoyed that thread of men being clueless. You know, that's what we love to do. We love to talk about how clueless the men species is. It's what we do. You know, I'm just a boy. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm just a boy in the world. You know? But hey, honestly, ladies, like I said, you guys underestimate how little you really have to do to get a dude to go as far as you want him to go. Because, like I said, man, it's just so much easier. But for guys, it's hard because we don't want to look like creeps. We don't want to look like we thirsty. We don't want to look like, you know, that's all we want or that's all we care about. There's so much that goes into, like, dating for a guy. It's extremely tough because we understand. You know what I mean? We understand that you ladies deal with a bunch of creeps and weirdos and shit like that. And we just don't want to be one of them. You know, we don't want to be one of them. We want to show you like, hey, I'm different. Hey, I'm good. I got it all going on up here. I don't got no screw loose or nothing like that, because we understand that you ladies got some options out in this bitch. And we like, hey, if we trying to stay an option, we can't be weird and doing all this weird shit and, you know, acting all crazy and whatnot, because we know you about to just be like, touch it, ching on to the next. I remember I saw this TikTok of a girl. She's like dating like 5 different dudes, and she has Post-it notes, and they're like all in a triangle. And this dude, she had went on a date with this guy, and then he had texted her good morning. And because he had texted her good morning, you know, I had a great time on the date last night, she was just like, I think that's weird. Like, never mind, you're off the roster. And I was just like, what? Huh? My man's took you out on a nice date, followed up the next morning saying, good morning, I had a great time on the date, you know, can't wait to see you again, hopefully your day is good. And she was just like, that gives me the ick, no thanks. And you're just like, what? And it's tough out here for the dudes, man. It's tough out here. But I'm gonna hop into announcements so we can get into Haunting Adeline. We can get to our first 2 chapters of that. Quick announcement though, patreon.com/MyAssHole Podcast. That exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenarios to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday shows. Audio listeners, keep downloading the show, as well as ratings 5 stars. Helps out a lot, and guess what? It's for free. And if you want to help out even more on the free 99 side of things, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as the HooTubes. Haunting Adeline Book 1 has a playlist, a completed playlist. So if you have not caught up to where we are now, you can finish this episode, then go back, watch chapters 1 through 42 into that playlist. This episode is going to have book 2 is going to have its own playlist for you guys. So that way it's separated between book 1 and book 2. I have that all set up for you guys. It's all rearing and ready to go. So when this episode comes out, the playlist will start, and every subsequent episode after that will be in the playlist. But without further ado, let's get on into it. Again, Zaid is caught up in, like, I guess they had set up like a trap for him. He's posing as a guy named Zach, and he's infiltrating the little pedophile ring or whatever, their little cult, what they do. And they set up a trap for him because they found out who he was. Adeline was driving on her way to him because she had found out that he was in trouble. She gets run off the road and gets kidnapped. So now, I don't know if they're going to start right from that. They might not. We'll see. So let's get into it though. One more thing. Hold on. Okay. Gonna make sure the audio is set up correctly.
Chapter 1. The Diamond. Smell. The first of my senses to trickle in. I wish it were anything else, because I'm instantly overwhelmed by the scent of body odor, spiced cologne, and what can only be described as the stench of evil incarnate. And then my 6th sense seeps in, whispering notes of warning and urgency. I'm in danger. Those notes turn into a song full of screeching and loud noises, filling my body with heart-wrenching panic. Adrenaline spikes, and just barely do I have enough sense to remain as quiet as possible. Slowly cracking open my crusted eyes, I'm greeted by complete darkness. It takes a second to process that there's a blindfold strapped around my head. Then, the blissful numbness I awoke in crumbles, and I lose my breath when all-consuming pain filters in, engulfing my body in absolute agony. God, is this what being alive feels like? It can't be death. I'd be at peace if it were, and I may have fallen for a stalker, but I'll be damned if I didn't land a spot within Heaven's Gates. I fucking earned that shit. Racking my brain, I try to think past the pain and remember what the fuck happened to me. Vaguely, I recall text messages from Daya asking me to come over, the urgency I felt when she wasn't answering my calls, getting in my car, headlights, and panicking, being jerked forward. And then nothing. And now I'm here, wherever that is, but not somewhere safe. Christ, was that even Daya texting me? Did something happen to her too? That possibility sends another wave of panic crashing through me. Scenarios curtail and evolve until I'm a mass of anxiety and desperation. She could be hurt or in serious trouble. Fuck, I'm hurt and in serious trouble, and I've no idea how the fuck I'm going to get out of it. My breathing is escalating further, and my heart is beating so heavily it physically hurts as it slams against my chest. It takes what little strength I have left to keep silent. Where the fuck am I? Where's Zaid? Quiet, dull voices are next, muffled by the noise in my ears, but steadily growing louder. I strain my ears, trying to hear over the beat of my heart and the pain swelling in my body like a water balloon. Somehow, the agony has a voice too, and it's fucking loud.
Z will be looking for her,
one man says quietly.
But we'll be fine once we get to Garrison's and chuck the van. We'll get her there quickly.
A particular memory knocks me over the head. Flashes of being dragged out of my car and the residual pain of glass and metal biting through my skin. It explains why my back is on fire. I've been fucking kidnapped, obviously. This had to have been the Society's doing. Zaid had said they targeted me, and I know he had guards stationed outside of Parsons Manor. They must have used Daya to draw me out, which means there's a high chance she's been taken too. Fuck, I'm an idiot. I didn't even stop to consider it could be a trap when Daya wasn't answering the phone. I was so intent on getting to her in case she was hurt or in trouble that it wasn't even a consideration to call Zaid. Not only could it have saved me, but it also could have saved Daya too. I squeeze my eyes shut as a sob crawls up my throat. A tear slips through my lashes, and my chest shakes with exertion, trying not to break down. This was my own damn fault. Zaid warned me countless times they were after me, and the first trap they set I walked right into. You're such an idiot, Addie. Such a fucking idiot.
You actually think we'll be able to hide her from him? It's fucking Z, man.
Another man responds, this one with a slight Hispanic accent.
We're just giving the Society what they asked for. Which one are you more afraid of, them or Z?
Fuck, it was the goddamn Society. I knew it, but hearing it confirmed only sends a fresh dose of adrenaline into my system. I don't know why I got tossed into this shit, but they need to take me out of this fucked up salad of depravity. I don't belong here. I belong in a salad full of fruits and vegetables, healthy things that don't run me off the road and enslave me. The second man mutters,
I'd prefer not to fucking choose.
It sounds like a hand slapping someone's shoulder or back as if to reassure him.
Too bad you don't have a choice, Rio. Doesn't matter. This girl right here is worth millions. I mean, we got a fucking diamond here. Just imagine it, dude. Z's girl, the one and only, up on an auction stage. You know how many enemies he has? People will be frothing at the mouth to make his girl their little toy. I'll get my cut from Max and the Society will compensate you. I'm sure. We'll be living fucking lavishly.
He lets out a burst of hyena-like laughter.
I can buy my own goddamn private island after the money goes through.
A shot of anger pumps into me at the man's callous words, speaking of me like I'm a house up for sale.
Your idea of comfort must be different from mine. We'll have to go into hiding alongside her, at least while Z is still alive.
The second man, Rio, responds. His name sounds familiar, and I think I faintly remember someone yelling his name after they ran me off the road.
Don't worry, man. We'll get a head start with the ritual happening tonight, and I'm sure the society will take out Z one way or another. They'll protect us.
A derisive snort is the only response the first man gets. Jesus Christ, I really am in deep trouble. Tears brim the corners of my eyes, and try as I might, no amount of trash talking keeps them from overflowing like rivers past the blindfold. I barely managed to wrangle down the sob that's still threatening to spill, clawing its way up to the inside of my teeth. Deep breaths, Addie. What did Zaid teach you? It takes several moments to collect my thoughts, but eventually his voice filters in. Leave evidence. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I slowly grip strands of my hair and tug until they break free. The sharp pinpricks are inconsequential compared to the rest of my body. I keep my movements minimal and slow. With the blindfold on, I've no idea if they can see me well. One movement out of the corner of their eye can alert them. I wiggle my fingers until the strands loosen and fall away. Just as I'm reaching for more hair, they hit a particular brutal bump in the road, and I can't keep the yelp from slipping free. The pair hadn't been talking at the moment, but it felt like a crowded room just went deathly silent in a matter of seconds.
Welcome to the land of the living, sweetheart.
One of the men croons. It's the first guy who had referred to me as a diamond. Where are you taking me? I ask, my voice raspy and hoarse.
To your new home. Well, temporary home.
He corrects.
Whoever pays the most will provide you with your forever home.
He chuckles, as if I'm a dog about to be adopted into a loving family. Great, I croak. Sounds like I've hit the jackpot. One of them laughs humorlessly, but it sounds like Rio this time.
Hold on tight to that humor, baby girl. You're going to need it for where you're going.
Before I can open my mouth to respond, I feel a prick in my arm, followed by a burning sensation spreading throughout my veins. I suck in a sharp breath, and it happens to be the last breath I take before darkness descends.
Her vitals are unstable and her blood pressure is dropping. We need to get her an IV.
I stir, the unfamiliar voice distorted beneath the ringing in my ears. Agony blazes in every inch of my body, but it feels like I'm underwater, fighting to get to the surface, yet kicking away from it because I just know the pain will only intensify. I'm encased in a shroud of fire, flames licking at my nerve endings, and the closer I get to consciousness, the brighter the flare. There's a tiny prick in my arm, followed by muffled voices coming from different directions.
Dislocated shoulder, head trauma, lacerations throughout her body.
The man's voice fades out before cutting back in, a harsh shout that travels up my spine.
God damn it, Rio, this isn't a fucking hospital where I have the equipment I need. She could have internal bleeding right now for all I know. Come on, man, she was fine just a bit ago.
Another answers, a note of concern in his tone. Rio's companion, I think.
Fine? I have no way of knowing what kind of damage she took. It's evident she hit her head. She could be hemorrhaging and potentially die in seconds. You gonna find me a CT scanner?
When he's met with silence, a muttered,
Thought so.
follows. Darkness slicks at the edge of my consciousness, threatening to drag me back under. I moan, and probing fingers pry my eyes open. A bright light flashes in them, but I hardly notice.
Miss, can you tell me what hurts?
An older man replaces the light, his face crowding over me. His image is blurry, but I can make out tufts of gray hair, a bushy mustache, and pale blue eyes. I part my lips, but my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. Jesus, what did they inject me with? Whatever it was, it's making me disoriented and dizzy.
I know you're in a lot of pain right now, but I need you to tell me what hurts.
Everything. Everything fucking hurts. My shoulder. I croak out finally. My head.
Anywhere else? Your chest or stomach?
Back. I gasp, remembering once more being dragged out of my car. My back feels as if it's been shredded with a cheese grater.
That all?
He presses. I nod my head, the incessant questions exhausting. A million other places hurt too, but my energy is depleted and I'm so very tired.
I'm going to put you under anesthesia and get you fixed up, okay?
Clarity surfaces over my surroundings, and the man's facial features sharpen, along with another man standing behind him who's shifting on his feet and watching us. Time to go to sleep, princess. Dark, bottomless eyes and a wicked grin. Rio. He's the one who had dragged me out of the car. Flashes of that conversation elude me, but I know there was more to it. I can't think past the relentless pounding in my skull. Just as my eyes were beginning to focus, my vision blurs once more and my eyelids grow heavy. I can't fight the deep pull to just close my eyes. I don't want to fight it. Not when it'll take me away from the pain. Addie, baby, I need you to fight for me, okay? I need you to survive until I get to you.
How badly is she damaged?
The question stirs me out of the endless pit I've been drifting in, where only an illusion of Zaid's voice lives. It's not real. His voice isn't actually there. But it feels so real, so soothing that I fight to stay where I can hear him.
How badly do you think you ran her off the road?
Alongside the angry response is a swell of dull pain pulsing throughout my body. I hear a sigh, and then the older man continues.
She'll have a few scars along her back from the glass. You're lucky they were fairly clean, so the scarring won't be too terrible. That'll decrease her value.
A voice mutters, too low to discern who said it.
Shut the fuck up. You're getting paid regardless. The fuck you care? Maybe because your dumbass mistake is risking my life? Jesus, Rio. I knew she was banged up, but not this bad.
Whatever Rio was going to say, it's cut off by the unfamiliar voice, the one who must be the doctor.
She has 30 stitches between the two larger lacerations because she was dragged across sharp metal and glass. You couldn't have expected that not to cause permanent damage,
he says, clearly taking Rio's companion's side.
God damn it, Rio. You do realize that might be coming out of my fucking pocket, right? I asked for your help, not for you to fuck it all up for me. How the fuck did you expect me to get her out, huh? Lift the car like I'm fucking Superman and roll it off so I can carry her out like some hero?
Rio spits. My chest seizes. The roughness of his tone feels like scratching nails on a chalkboard. I've awoken to that damn voice too many times now, and each time is a stark reminder that I've been pulled down into a nightmare and haven't found my way out yet.
If you hadn't hit the car so fucking hard, none of this would be happening, you piece of shit. If you hadn't been so fucking doped up and screaming in my ear, then you could have been the fucking driver like you were supposed to be. Gentlemen, let's take a breather. She's awake. Her blood pressure is rising.
My breath stills, but I don't bother pretending. Slowly, I open my eyes to see 3 men surrounding me, staring at me as if I'm a lab rat in an experiment. A very fucking horrible experiment. My eyes clash with a dark pair first. Nearly black and lifeless from the lack of warmth. Tattoos cover his light brown skin. The laurel leaves on either side of his throat, snagging my attention first. He's wearing a zipped-up leather jacket, but black ink swirls on his hands and up to each of his fingers, indicating he's most likely covered in them. He has sharp, angular features, arched, thick brows, along with a scar cutting through the side of his closely cropped black hair, completing his near-feral appearance. He'd be attractive if he didn't look like he'd rather see me dead. My gaze moves to the man next to him. He's grungy-looking, with scabs on his face from apparent drug use. A mop of greasy hair covered by a backward ball cap, a dirty wife-beater, and pants too big. I recognize him as the other man who kidnapped me. Finally, I look over to the third man, who I assume to be a doctor. Gray hair, blue eyes, a bushy mustache, and wrinkles disturbing the otherwise smooth expression on his face. His stare is softer, matching the tenor in which he speaks. But something is off about him, a deep, penetrating vibe that I can't quite place. I look away, a cold tremor settling deep in the marrow of my bones. The dull, throbbing pain is growing sharper, but still not nearly as potent compared to when I awoke in that van. Whatever painkillers they pumped into my system must be fading, and I'm not above begging for more. All of my muscles ache so profoundly that I feel as if a hard shell has molded around my bones. I'm incredibly stiff, and every movement twinges. Breathing through the aches, I glance around. I'm in a darkened white room. It's sterile in here. Not clean like a hospital, which is where I expected to be, but we're not in a dungeon either. I'm not sure why I even expected that. Dirty white walls, concrete flooring, and silver cabinets line nearly every wall in the room. Next to the hospital bed is a large metal table with a bowl and various instruments laid out on a bloody cloth. Different sorts of machines are placed throughout the room. While I don't recognize most of them, the beeping device next to me monitoring my vitals is familiar, along with the IV that leads directly into my arm. The doctor grabs a styrofoam cup from the table next to my bed and hands it to me.
Drink slowly,
He instructs. Shakily, I grab the cup and sip on it. The cold water feels like dumping ice on a burn, painfully relieving. Scratchy white blankets cover me up to my waist, and when I look down, I notice I'm in nothing but a light blue gown. Somehow, that's the worst part. They can see the evidence of just how cold it is in here. Noticing where my eyes are trained, the doctor speaks up.
I do apologize for your clothing. I had to cut them off of you so I could properly treat you and assess the damage you've suffered. You can thank Rio for that.
The grungy man mutters under his breath, plenty loud enough for me to pick up on through the near-constant fear steadily swirling in my bloodstream.
Shut the fuck up, Rick.
Rio snaps back, his accent deepening with fury.
Will kill you myself, and unlike your precious diamond, no one will miss you.
This is a terror unlike anything I've ever felt before. It's nothing like the fear Zayd invoked in me, and definitely not a cheap thrill I get from haunted houses and scary movies. This is what it feels like when you're well and truly fucked. The monitor betrays my body, the beeping increasing until the doctor glances at it with concern. I scarcely remember the events after they sent my car rolling. However, I do vaguely recall Rio's face hovering over me after he dragged me out of the car. His mouth moving, but his words evading me. All except 6. Time to go to sleep, princess. Where am I? I whisper and then cough, clearing some of the phlegm from my throat.
At the fucking Ritz-Carlton, princess. Where do you think?
Rio snaps, his features still tight with anger. Rick looks at him with an accusatory expression on his pock-marked face, but otherwise he keeps his mouth shut, clearly taking Rio's threat seriously. It's obvious Rio fucked up, and there's a part of me that hopes they kill him for it.
My name is Dr. Garrison.
The gray-haired man introduces, deliberately stepping in front of Rio. Swallowing, I stay silent. If the creep expects me to give him my name as if we're in a fucking interview, then he can shove the IV pole up his ass.
How are you feeling?
He asks, taking a step closer. I bristle, and before I can tell him precisely what I'm feeling, he powers on, seeming to sense my incoming smart-ass response.
I imagine a headache. Any nausea?
I tighten my lips. Probably for the best that he diverted the questioning. My mouth is only going to get me killed if I let it run wild. I'm not going to get away with that like I did with Zayd, though I'd still consider getting away with it subjective. Even when he first made himself known and terrified the absolute shit out of me, there was always an odd sense of security in pushing his buttons. As if, deep down, I knew Zayd would never truly hurt me. Something that only makes sense now that he's managed to worm his way into my life. The man is incredibly dangerous to everyone else but me, even when he had a loaded gun pointed in my direction and used it for more than just a weapon. But these men, not only would they hurt me, but they would kill me too. Nausea, I clip, my voice still hoarse. Dr. Garrison begins fiddling with the IV, replacing the empty fluid bag with a new one. I hope it's morphine. I drain the rest of the water in my cup, yet it does little to acquiesce the perpetual dryness in my throat. No matter how many times I lick my chapped lips, there's never enough moisture.
You have a pretty nasty concussion, which means we'll have to monitor you closely. I want to ensure you receive no further damage.
He shoots the pair a nasty look, and I get the feeling this is something they already argued over. My mouth moves on autopilot, opening and readying to tell him not to waste his time. The 2 other men will ensure that my body endures plenty of more damage. Sensing my intent, Rio snips.
I dare you.
His voice is stern and threatening, drawing my attention to him.
Your pussy will still work regardless, even if you've got brain damage.
My mouth snaps closed and I avert my gaze back to Dr. Garrison. His lips flatten into a white line, seemingly not impressed with Rio's crude words. Keep your mouth shut, Addie. We just went over this, dumbass.
You've experienced extensive trauma, and despite what anyone says...
He gives Rio a nasty look.
We need you in tip-top shape.
They need me in shape so that I will be worth something. But I don't argue, not when it benefits me. Healing means gaining the energy to flee. Licking my lips, I ask, "What day is it?"
You really think that's important?
Rick barks.
You don't get to ask questions.
I struggle not to mouth back. My lips tremble with the urge to impart nasty, hateful words to spew past them. But I manage to refrain.
It's Thursday.
Dr. Garrison answers anyway, ignoring the filthy look from the grungy man. Thursday. It's been 5 days already since the car accident. Zaid would be looking for me by now, most likely out of his mind and on a rampage. Jesus, he's probably going to kill a lot of people. No, he definitely is, and when a grin begins to form, I know that man has well and truly corrupted me.
Something funny?
Rick asks. I squash the grin and shake my head, but all I can think is that even though I may die, so will all of them. And their end is going to be so much worse than mine. As the fantasies take root in all the ways Zaid will wreak havoc, my eyelids begin to grow heavy, and fatigue weighs down the little burst of adrenaline I was running on. The 3 men watch me closely, and even in my concussed, broken state, I don't need a scientist to tell me that whatever he drugged me with, it's not morphine. My eyes land on Rio, and my lids involuntarily close before I force them open. His lips quirk up at the sides, dry amusement swirling in those dark pits.
Time to go to sleep, princess.
June 8th, 2008. What did I fucking do to deserve this? I'm 20 years old. 20 years old. And now I'm going to die. Jesus. And all I can think about is what will happen to my little sister. Mom couldn't take care of her if her life depended on it. Fucking fuck, my sister is going to die too. Knowing that hurts so much more than what these men do to me, than what Francesca does to me. It's physical. They don't have the power to break me mentally, but I'm already fucking broken. Molly.
Chapter 2. The Hunter. It's not very often that people surprise me. I expect the worst from everyone, even myself, especially myself. But when that voice registers through the fog of agony clouding my head, all I can feel is astonishment and the cold press of metal in the back of my skull.
Glad you could figure that out, Jason Scott. Now let's see those hands. Otherwise, this single bullet will find its way in both of your fucking heads.
The exact feeling is reflected on Jay's face as his features slacken and eyes widen, his voice saturated with utter bewilderment as he mouths, "You?"
Yes. Me.
Motherfucker. My mind races, circulating through each encounter with her and trying to figure out how the fuck I missed this. Missed her being a wolf in sheep's clothing. She played her part pretty fucking well. This really hurts my feelings, you know, I say through clenched teeth, the muscle in my jaw pulsating.
Why do I get the feeling that you'll get over it?
A man's tortured scream rings out from someplace to my left, the heavy smoke concealing him. A bomb went off somewhere, blasting me back into the stone altar they used for their sacrificial rituals. I've no idea what the fuck kind of damage I took, but if the increasing pain in my entire body is anything to go by, I need to get to a hospital. And I don't need a fucking fortune teller to inform me that getting help is not in my near future. The man-made underground cave we're in is still swarmed with chaos, wails of agony and terror bouncing off the stone walls, worsening the pounding in my skull. This hellhole is where the society sacrifices children. Some type of initiation in order to be welcomed into a club that provides them with an ample number of innocents to rape and murder. Leaked videos surfaced on the dark web, the first one being 9 months ago. Since then, I have worked day and night to get into this ritual, and I finally did. But evidently the society saw me coming and planned for my arrival. Dan, the man who got me in, had mentioned they caught the culprit who was leaking the videos. I was too distracted to realize the trap when another video popped up on the web afterward. A video that was intentionally uploaded, knowing that I'd see it and find my way into the club. They were drawing me in so they could take me out.
You cost me a little girl, Z.
The bitch says from behind me. Sounds like you knew that was a risk. I counter, a tad breathless. It hurts to even fucking breathe, and the pain is growing by the second. The little girl who was offered up to me and 3 other men on the altar had been taken out of here, hopefully before the explosion. I entrusted her safety with one of my men, Michael, and I haven't heard from him yet.
Both of you, up. You're coming with me.
I may be a tad fucked up at the moment, but don't expect me not to kill you the first chance I get. I warn, nearly groaning when my back spasms. Fuck me. More than anything, I wish this shit were like in the movies, where getting blasted by a bomb and proceeding to save the world directly after was possible.
You're not going to do that, Z. You want to know why?
I freeze, a sinking feeling already forming in the pit of my stomach. It's like the mouth of Jaws just opened up, and my heart is the unsuspecting swimmer about to get swallowed whole. She better not say what the fuck I think she's going to say, or I'm going to lose my shit. My voice is deadly calm as I say, I swear to everything that is holy, I will destroy you if you touched my girl. Her answering silence speaks volumes, and everything goes black. My vision snuffs out, and a tsunami of rage crashes through me. I clench my fists, fighting to regain control of myself. Zaid. Urgency gnashes at my patience, screaming at me to get up and find my little mouse. I need to get to her now before they take her too far. Zaid. Who knows how far they've taken her already, how badly they've hurt her. My body locks tight from the thought, images flashing through my head of what they could be doing to her. If they touch her, fuck, Zaid, look at me, man. Jay's voice finally registers, but I can't see him. I can't see anything. The gun is pressed harder into my head as a warning. I don't remember moving, but I'm on my knees now, my spine straight as I stare ahead, seeing nothing but a vision of ripping this bitch's body apart, limb by limb with my fucking teeth.
Stay down,
she hisses from behind me. Let me... Fuck, he's going to do something stupid. Jay rushes out, voice pitched in panic. Pain explodes on the side of my head from a fist flying into my temple. My sight comes rushing back in, my right-hand man's face appearing, his hazel eyes inches away. Get it fucking together, he barks through gritted teeth. The vein on his temple pulsates, sweat pouring down his red face. My hand is wrapped around the barrel that's firmly digging into my head, seconds away from pulling it from her grip. Let it go, Jay orders sharply. You're lucky you don't have a goddamn bullet in your head right now. You can't kill her yet.
I'd like to see you try.
She spits, nudging the gun. Setting my jaw, I release it and rest my hands on my knees. My muscles are vibrating so hard, so fast. My body appears to be still, but I can feel every tremor as she continues.
You may think you're powerful, but whatever scraps of power you have are insignificant to mine. I can make you disappear, and no one will ever have known you existed at all.
I snarl, on the precipice of demonstrating just how wrong she is, but keep my teeth glued together for the time being. Jay's right. She's holding a gun to the back of my head and can end my life in a matter of seconds. A bullet is faster than me, and I have no doubt she would make good on her threat and kill Jay next. Closing my eyes, I inhale deeply and bring myself to a scary place I've rarely had to go in my lifetime. Numbness spreads, and tranquility replaces the white-hot rage. My mind goes silent, and when I reopen my eyes, Jay's spine snaps straight. Whatever he sees unnerves him. I need to get out of this situation in order to find Addie. Only then will I be more than happy to show this cunt exactly what I'm capable of. This world will fucking smolder, and I will hold her face in the fire and watch her melt in my wrath. Did you take her? I ask. I know she did, but I need to hear the confirmation from her mouth anyway. I feel her hot breath fan across my ear, followed by her soft, mocking voice.
I did. I took her, and I'm going to sell her. Only to the ones with the sickest desires, and you can't do a thing about it.
One thing I've grown to loathe since forming Z. I have an incredibly vivid imagination. In this field of work, it's a curse. Every time I see a new video posted on the dark web or get intel on a new ring, the first thoughts that come to mind are all the depraved, sick things being done to these women and children. My own mind tortures me with those images, and later I'll be plagued by them, except it'll be my girl they're hurting. But now, I'm fucking glad for it, because at this very moment I am enjoying all of the ways I'm envisioning how I will kill Claire Williams. So, I start, grunting when a particularly painful twinge flares in my back. Mark was never your abuser, was he? She titters.
Oh, he was. He just didn't know what it meant for him every time he laid his hands on me. Idiot never did figure out I was the one pulling all the strings. He was too stupid.
She circles Jay and me, the gun still pointed at my head while her red lips pull into a snarl. The color staining her mouth rivals her hair, such a bright red that curls around her face and robed shoulders. During the ritual, she was the mystery person in the hood, offering me a knife that she knew damn well I would never use on that little girl. Instead, it went into another's throat.
That's the best thing about the male species. You all are so far up your own asses, you never thought it could be a woman in charge. Never suspected the meek, abused wife because you all assumed I was weak.
I huff out a dry laugh. Wrong. I didn't suspect the abused wife only because I couldn't imagine one victim actively victimizing other innocent women and children. She smiles wickedly and bends at the waist, leveling her green eyes with mine.
And I can't imagine a man that puts his life on the line to save these victims forcing an innocent woman into a relationship.
She assesses me closely while I stare at her, searching for any emotion. I only give her one. I tip my head back and laugh. Have you been stalking me, Claire? I ask with mirth, meeting her glare once more. Her lips tip up further.
We're all hypocrites, Z,
she says, ignoring my taunt and straightening.
The only difference between you and me is that I chose to profit off of the pathetic men in this world. They're never going to stop abusing those they deem weaker. And they'll never stop raping and killing them, so I decided that if that's the world we're going to live in, then I'll be damned if I don't gain something from it.
I smooth out my face, only clenching my teeth when the twinge in my back worsens. Fuck, I really need a hospital, but I need Addie more. You could do so much good in your position, Jay fumes, disgust twisting his features. You have immense power, and you choose to feed into the patriarchy rather than changing it. She snarls, whipping the gun to him and pressing it into his temple. Jay stiffens, but he doesn't cower. My muscles lock, the throbbing pain fading as I watch her finger dance over the trigger. If she pulls that trigger, I will crush her throat beneath my boot before that bullet finishes passing through Jay's brain.
You're wrong.
She looks at me.
Let's say you did destroy all the rings, Z. Let's say you accomplished what you've set out to do. Do you honestly believe for 1 second it'll stay that way? Ha! The second the dust settles, evil will already be rebuilding their empire, this time stronger and better than before.
She stares at Jay and me as if we're delusional.
You'll never get rid of evil. Never.
She's not wrong, but that doesn't mean I can't put a massive dent in the cesspool of rotten souls and create a power vacuum. I'm not under any delusions that I'll be able to erase human trafficking in my lifetime completely, but that was never the fucking point. Saving these girls, these children, and giving as many of them a second chance at life as I can is the goddamn point. My plan has always been to dismantle the government's shady control of the people and their hand in the skin trade. That alone will make a significant difference in the world. It will be an ongoing battle long after I'm gone. The sun will explode and the earth will deteriorate before a perfect world ever exists. Humans will kill themselves off before that can happen. But Z isn't going anywhere. Even when I'm buried 6 feet under, I will raise a generation to take over, and they will do the same. Claire looks over her shoulder then, and I notice a man approaching with a deep hood over his head. I can only tell his gender because he's built like an upside-down Eiffel Tower. Massive, broad shoulders stretching the robe, the seams nearly bursting, and then dramatically tapering down into chicken legs. Dickhead skipped leg day so often that he can't even see them anymore because they're so skinny. "Car's ready," he announces, his voice deeper than the Mariana Trench. Claire faces me, lowering her gun as the man raises, and flicks her pointer finger up and down.
Up.
She snaps, her tone sharp.
Now.
Blowing out a steady breath, I force myself to move, gritting my teeth from the aches in my body. Grunting, I stand fully and train my glare on the red-headed snake before me. She's brave enough to meet my gaze head-on without an iota of fear. I'm sure she's used to men looking down on her, intimidating in nature. But Claire has never dealt with a man like me. "What do you think you're going to do with me?" I challenge, staring at her with condescension, like you would a small child who believes they can win an arm wrestling match against you. "I'm a lot to handle, Claire." Her lips tip up in a secretive smile, unconcerned as she draws near, a display to show me how unafraid she is.
Patrick here will be taking you to our interrogation room. We're going to ask you some questions.
She pats my cheek, returning the condescension.
You'll be useful and give us all the information we need. How your organization operates and the illegal technology you use, along with all the intel you've collected in your years as a terrorist. And then I will make you watch your little girlfriend with her new master before I kill you myself.
I stretch my lips into a feral smile, baring my teeth as I lean in and show her exactly why she should be very fucking afraid. "Better make sure those ropes are extra tight," I growl, her eyes round at the corners, a hint of fear flashing as quick as lightning. Bitch may be ice fucking cold, but that doesn't make her immune to my fire. "Lead the way," I encourage, gesturing before me. Claire looks me up and down, a scowl forming on her face at my superior tone. She's gotten used to people sniveling at her feet and bowing to her commands like metal beneath a torch. She has yet to learn that I've never been just a man. With a sniff, she turns and walks away, making a point to keep her back turned as if to prove a point. I've never needed to acquire fear in order to kill, but I don't mind teaching lessons. Addie can attest to that. Jay's stare is searing into the side of my face, a panicked look radiating from his hazel eyes. He doesn't need to say the words. His expression says it all. We're going to die. Not if I have anything to fucking do with it. I have too much to lose that's worth far more than my own life. Her chicken-legged companion, Patrick, allows us to pass before he falls into step behind us. "Try not to stare at my ass," I drawl. He growls and nudges me forward with a meaty hand, his gun poised in his other hand threateningly. Slowly I twist my head to stare at him over my shoulder, eyes wild and a grin I can't feel on my face. "Shut up and walk," he snaps, but his voice betrays him, wobbling at the last word. How hard it must be to feign bravery beneath the stare of a heinous monster with a malicious smile. The smoke is beginning to thin. Bodies are strewn across the cave, an ocean of blood soaking into the rock. Following Claire, my foot knocks against a severed arm. the limb rolling directly into a decapitated head, the man's face frozen in terror. The howls of pain are slowly fading as the mortalities grow, and I can't help but marvel at the fact that the society sacrificed their own people's lives just to ensure that I would be caught. That speaks volumes. Not only am I a threat, I am catastrophic. Claire leads us to the door that she disappeared out of after handing me the knife. From the quick sweep of the room, I hadn't seen any of my own men, but that doesn't mean that they're not mixed in and possibly dead. My chest tightens, hoping that's not the case. They understand the risks, but their deaths would be another responsibility to shoulder. We follow her down a dimly lit hallway, an exact replica of the one I entered the cave through. Strips of LED lights line either side, giving off an ominous glow against the black walls and tiles. This hallway steeply inclines upward now that we're coming from underground. It feels like climbing a mountain with the way my body aches. Jay walks stiffly beside me, periodically glancing at me with fear and anxiety. It's clear that he's never been in a dangerous situation like this before. He's always behind the computer, never on the front lines. I don't know how to assure him. I've never been one to lie, and while I'm confident I'll get us out alive, I can't guarantee it. In a matter of minutes, Claire is pushing open the door and leading us out into a dark alleyway, scarcely lit by the moonlight and a street lamp at the end. The sweat gliding down the sides of my face is instantly cooled by the brittle Seattle air. Claire wastes no time leading us toward a nondescript black van waiting at the mouth of the lane, its tinted windows so dark that you couldn't see through it, even if your face was smashed against the glass. Incredibly fucking illegal, but those license plates will prevent them from getting pulled over. They would only need to see Claire's name to look the other way. The closer we get to the vehicle, the more Jay stiffens. I lean closer to his ear. Just think of Claire as your fairy godmother, and this is the pumpkin carriage that's going to whisk you away off to your princess. Or prince, Jay corrects through gritted teeth. He's sweating profusely, and his eyes are dilated. I wouldn't mind either. I shrug. As long as you still make me Uncle Z. He scoffs, peering over at me as if I'm cracked. You seriously think I'm going to have kids after seeing this shit every day? I shrug a shoulder again, pursing my lips. Why not? Uncle Z will keep them safe. I can be their personal bodyguard. They may not like it, but I'll fucking do it. He shakes his head, the tiniest of smiles tipping up his lips, understanding precisely what I'm doing. I'm giving him a future, painting a picture of him surviving and finding happiness, whether he decides to breed mini gremlins or not. As we step off the curb and approach the black van, the back double doors open wide. Claire turns and nods her head towards the dark interior, indicating for us to get in. Shooting her a wink, I make my way into the depths of the van with Jay close behind, her irritated huff following us in. If this were anyone else, I'd tell them not to antagonize their kidnapper. In fact, knowing that Addie is in the same exact situation right now, I'd spank her ass if I knew she was being reckless. The smartest thing to do is keep your fucking mouth shut and listen to orders until you find a way out. But putting Z in the back of a van will never be the same as putting an innocent civilian in it. For now, I can rely on the fact that they won't kill Addie. She's worth too much, and seeing my situation laid out in front of me, I am even more confident Claire isn't going to win this round. She may be smart, but she wasn't smart enough to knock my ass out. That could have given her a solid chance. I sit down on the cold metal bench, gritting my teeth against the pain, and train my feral gaze on Claire again. She stands right outside the doors, staring at me with a slight grin. Her tight, red curls are glaring beneath the street lamp, and for a moment she appears innocent. She looks like a woman who has endured years of abuse in all forms and just wants to live a life in peace. But the mirage shatters, and all I see is a woman who became everything she hates. She shoots a loaded look of warning my way, then slams the doors shut, triggering LED lights rimming either side of the floor to flicker on. Jay settles on the bench across from me, immediately putting on the seatbelt attached to the van wall, while Patrick sits next to me, so close that he is practically sitting in my lap. My eyes drift to him, a blank expression on my face. You don't want to get in a sword fight with me, Patrick. I promise I'll win. I deadpan, glancing down between his legs. Jay hisses at me to shut up, but I don't tear my gaze away from where I feel his eyes hiding within the deep hood. You don't know when to keep your mouth shut, do you? What did I say? I ask, feigning innocence. I thought that was your intent with the way you're sitting in my lap. It's going to be hard to get in a sword fight if you have no sword to speak of, he retorts, his tone dipped in malice. I arch a brow, unimpressed with his threat. Even with a chainsaw, it takes time to cut through a tree trunk. You'll be dead before you get that far. Keep talking, he snaps, daring me. I smirk, but keep my mouth shut. If Jay weren't here, I would continue to antagonize him. It would be my goal for him to attack me and hopefully pull a weapon on me, thus presenting me with the perfect opportunity to disarm and kill him instead. But it's possible he'd turn the gun on Jay, and I won't risk his life in place of my own, so I'll bide my time for now. Patrick is going to die, and very soon. The engine rumbles to life, the metal vibrating beneath my ass. The vehicle surges forward, causing the three of us to sway heavily to the side, forcing Patrick further against me. We look at each other, and slowly he slides a few inches away. That's what I fucking thought. Now that the mouth breather has removed itself from my neck, I can actually think. But it only takes seconds for my thoughts to nosedive, the deadened space I forced my mind into fading away, and that black rage resurfacing. They took my little mouse. I squeeze my eyes shut and bow my head, fighting to regain control over my temper. The fragile layer of resolve containing my anxiety and murderous rage is cracking. My panicked thoughts are too heavy, and just like a person standing on thin ice, it's eventually going to break beneath the pressure. But I can't let it. Not yet. I need to focus on getting us out, and it's hard enough with my body screaming at me. There's the option of attacking and killing Patrick, but that won't stop the vehicle, especially if they hear me attempting to escape. The only alternative would be shooting the gun off until I hit the driver, which could send us careening into traffic and killing us all. Or Jay and I could attempt to drop and roll out of the back, except my body is too battered to withstand that. Exhaling through my nose, I lift my head to find Jay already staring at me, brows knitted with concern. His black hair is matted to his forehead with sweat, and he's shaking like a leaf. He's definitely not fit for a mercenary life. Fuck. That's it. Jay's panic and my agony have made us both forget a very valuable tool. There are Bluetooth chips still in our ears. They're tiny and transparent, an illegal device that isn't noticeable unless you're really looking for it. So unnoticeable that Claire hadn't even thought to check. The device in our ears is activated by a tiny button or a voice command, but that means Jay or I have to use the word call. I train my gaze on Patrick. So am I going to get my one call when we get there? He grunts. Funny. Silence. Fuck. It probably got damaged by the explosion. Explains why my men haven't attempted to get a hold of me themselves. I cast a look to Jay and he nods, a drip of sweat flinging off the tip of his nose. Come on, man, my grandma is sick. She's probably wondering where I am. I face Jay again. Didn't you promise your brother that you'd take him to Chuck E. Cheese tonight? Jay works to keep his face neutral, but that's another reason he stays behind the screen. Kid can't act worth shit. Yeah, I should probably, call Baron and tell him I can't make it. Make it a little more obvious, Jay, dear Lord. Baron isn't actually Jay's brother, but another of my men that could help us. A little satisfied smirk tilts Jay's lips, but he smothers it. The call must have been successful, which means Baron will be listening in and hopefully track us once he realizes something is wrong. Jay continues after a few moments. It's probably important he knows that we're being held hostage, right? Oh my God. I'd prefer he never know what happened to you and live the rest of his life wondering, Patrick retorts, oblivious to Jay's terrible acting. Then he turns to me. You can keep playing your games, but you won't be laughing soon. How soon? I counter. I can't see his face, but I can feel the confusion radiating from the black hole in his hood. My grandma is waiting. His fist clenching is my only warning before he sends it soaring into my cheek. My head snaps to the side, and pain blooms across my entire skull. The punch would be tolerable on a typical day, but considering that I just suffered through an explosion, it feels like another bomb has been let off inside my head. My instincts flare, and my fists clench with the need to hit him back. The beast inside my chest is thrashing and raging, and that precarious control slips a little more. Addie. It's for Addie. Just barely I manage to refrain. I need to give our men time to get to us, though I know it won't take long. Jesus, a man can't call his fucking grandma? Asshole. He shakes out his shoulders and turns away, and I scoot further down the bench. He can think it's because I'm scared, but in reality I'm 2 seconds away from ending his life prematurely. While we wait, I work to decompress, keeping the boiling anger in check. That lasts a whopping 10 minutes before I'm getting thrown for the second time today. Something heavy crashes into the van from behind, sending Patrick and me flying off the bench and into the wall that separates the front from the back. Jay is jerked to the side, but the seatbelt keeps the lucky son of a bitch anchored. I groan, pain flaring in several different parts of my body as I roll onto my back and try to breathe. I can't even tell which parts hurt anymore. Fucking everything hurts. Claire yells from the front seat, spitting demands at the driver to get the vehicle under control. The van continues to swerve side to side, the driver unable to regain control. Another hit, and the van lurches to the side and crashes into something solid. Patrick collides into me, colorful words spilling from my mouth as we slide towards Jay. My back slams into the wall as we come to a halt, the behemoth smashed up against me. My ears ring from the impact, and it takes several seconds to get my eyes to focus. Patrick may be disproportionate as hell, but he's still really fucking heavy. Jay, tell me it's who I think it is, I grit out, taking advantage of the chaos and wrapping my arm around Patrick's neck in a steel-tight grip. His hands fly to my arm, clawing at me as I gradually crush his windpipe. He struggles, and I clench my jaw as I fight to keep him still. I'm weak, in an insurmountable amount of pain, and my muscles are loosening. Sure is, he pants, sweat pouring down his pale face. Good, I mutter before gripping Patrick's head and snapping it to the side, breaking his neck and killing him instantly. As for my grandma, Dick. Bro, none of your grandparents are still alive.
June 10th, 2008. They drugged me. I only know the date because the pedos are coming on the 20th. And Francesca said I have 10 days to get my act together. Stop the unruliness, or however you spell it. It's the last word I remember before they stuck a needle in my arm. If they thought that was going to keep me from escaping, well, guess what, Francesca? I'm getting the fuck out of here. Going back to get my sister, and getting us the hell out of this stupid-ass pedophile state. Fuck all of you. Molly.
All right. And that is Haunting Adeline, Book 2, Chapters 1 and 2. Boy, did we get a lot of juiciness in that one. I'm excited to see how this book is going to progress, how it's going. We got a good little chapter from where Adeline is at and a good little chapter where our boy Zaid's at. And I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. I'll see you guys next week on next Thursday, and we'll be doing chapters 3 and 4. Love you guys all. I'll see you on Friday if you're on Patreon, Sunday if you're a free $99 kind of person. And that's it for me. Peace.